Buckle up, everyone, because this story is about to get intense. We've got a major legal showdown on our hands, and trust me, you won't want to miss a single detail. Former First Lady Melania Trump is suing the hosts of The View for defamation in a lawsuit worth a staggering $100 million. Yes, you read that right, $100 million. This case has the potential to send shockwaves through the entertainment and media industries, and it's already got people talking. So, what exactly is happening? Let's break it down step by step. To start, Melania Trump is taking legal action against the hosts of The View over some highly controversial comments they made about her during a recent episode. When I say controversial, I mean they struck a serious nerve. This isn't just another celebrity feud, it's a high-profile legal battle that could have far-reaching consequences for how the media discusses public figures. And Melania? She's not holding anything back. Now, let's dive into the comments that sparked this firestorm. During the episode in question, the hosts were discussing Melania's tenure as First Lady, and let's just say their remarks were anything but flattering. In fact, some of their statements could be considered inflammatory. One host, for instance, implied that Melania wasn't particularly enthusiastic about her role in the White House. They went as far as suggesting that she never wanted to be First Lady in the first place and wasn't happy in her marriage to Donald Trump. These are bold and deeply personal claims, exactly the kind of remarks that have led to this high-stakes legal battle.
Critics are going hard after a liberal media member for vile comments about Melania Trump. The former First Lady appears to signal her support for reproductive rights in a video out yesterday.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom.
Wow. I mean, that is violent. They've got to stop talking like that about a former president who's had 2 assassination attempts. I mean, that's just ignorant.
But that wasn't the worst of it. The conversation quickly escalated into a barrage of criticisms targeting Melania's personal choices and actions during her time in the White House. The hosts dissected everything from her approach to redecorating the White House to her stance on Christmas traditions. One host even went so far as to suggest that Melania was indifferent to her role, portraying her as someone who was resentful and unhappy with the expectations placed upon her.
Because I do want to get back to the
private person, especially compared to other public figures. So when these personal attacks were made, she was reportedly furious, and it didn't take long for her to act. Melania filed a defamation lawsuit against the hosts of The View, claiming their statements were not only false, but also deeply damaging to her reputation. This isn't just about hurt feelings or a public relations move, it's about protecting her image and preventing the spread of false and harmful narratives about her. And let's be clear, lawsuits like this are rare. Public figures, especially those in Melania's position, often take a more passive approach to media criticism. Many opt to release brief statements or simply ignore the controversy altogether. But Melania isn't taking the typical route. By filing this lawsuit, she's making it clear that she won't tolerate falsehoods about her character. She's demanding accountability, and she's doing so in a bold and decisive way.
These are such vile comments, but they are exactly what The View's audience loves. It is targeted perfectly at a radically feminist, liberal audience that loves hate. Another now. This is loving and tolerant rhetoric the left uses, which they accuse the opposing side of using. And this one, those women are a danger to America. They do more than anyone else to stoke political and social tensions. The former president says he thinks his wife should be allowed to think for herself.
Why does this matter? Why is this lawsuit so significant? Well, this case isn't just about a celebrity feud, it's about a much bigger issue: the fine line between free speech, media responsibility, and the protection of personal reputations. Melania's lawsuit raises critical questions about what can and cannot be said about public figures. This legal battle has the potential to set a precedent for how future defamation cases involving public figures are handled. If Melania wins, it could have a far-reaching impact on how media outlets, including talk shows like The View, address personal matters involving politicians, celebrities, and their families. A victory for Melania could lead to a more cautious approach when discussing the private lives of public figures. However, it could also ignite debates about whether this shift might create a chilling effect on free speech, particularly when it comes to the media's ability to scrutinize or comment on high-profile individuals. And here's where things get even more intriguing: the timing. As Melania files her lawsuit, Donald Trump is making headlines for an entirely different set of reasons. This overlap has led some to speculate whether Melania's legal action could be a calculated move. Is this lawsuit a strategic attempt to shift the media spotlight onto her, especially with the political and legal controversies surrounding her husband dominating the news? Could it be part of a broader strategy to reassert her presence in the public eye? It's definitely something to consider. But before diving deeper into the speculation, let's focus on the comments that compelled Melania to take this bold legal step.
Allegedly, he was cheating while Melania was pregnant.
That's not going to come in front of the jury, though. The judge has ruled that won't come up.
We're on television now. And then after Melania gave birth to the baby, he found Stormy to strip around with, right?
Yes.
It's like people should look at him and say, you know, what kind of an insecure jerk are you? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, my wife's pregnant, I'm not attracted to her big belly or something, and now she's paying attention to the baby and not me.
One of the most jaw-dropping moments came when a host alleged that Melania hates her husband and no longer wants to live with him. Can you believe that? These statements weren't just deeply personal, they were potentially highly damaging. For many viewers, it was one of those moments where you had to pause and rewind to make sure you heard it correctly. The audacity of such remarks left a lot of people shaking their heads. This is one of those instances where the line between personal opinion and harmful gossip becomes dangerously blurred. One of the most jaw-dropping moments came when a host alleged that Melania hates her husband and no longer wants to live with him. Can you believe that? These statements weren't just deeply personal, they were potentially highly damaging. For many viewers, it was one of those moments where you had to pause and rewind to make sure you heard it correctly. The audacity of such remarks left a lot of people shaking their heads. This is one of those instances where the line between personal opinion and harmful gossip becomes dangerously blurred.
Now you know who has been bragging all over the campaign trail about how he's the one that overturned Roe v. Wade, but apparently his wife has different thoughts on the reproductive rights after posting this video plugging her memoir. Take a look.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
What does this mean for the rest of us? This case raises important questions about the relationship between the media, public figures, and personal privacy. Should celebrities and politicians expect full privacy, or is public scrutiny simply part of their status? Where do we draw the line between free speech and defamation? This lawsuit could reshape media law, with experts already predicting that its outcome will have far-reaching consequences for the entertainment industry. If Melania wins, it could change how the media handles personal stories about public figures, whether they're celebrities, politicians, or their families. Of course, the case isn't without controversy. Critics argue that Melania may be exploiting the situation for publicity, while others believe she's taking a stand to protect her reputation and setting an important precedent about what's acceptable in the media. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but one thing is certain: this lawsuit is shining a spotlight on the complex intersection of fame, personal privacy, and media responsibility. As the case unfolds, all eyes will be on both Melania and The View to see how the legal system responds to her claims. This isn't just about the money, it's about potentially setting a new standard for how media platforms handle stories about public figures. If Melania wins, we could witness a significant shift in how talk shows, news outlets, and entertainment programs tackle controversial topics involving high-profile individuals. The drama is just beginning, and this case is sure to spark discussions for a long time. So, what do you think? Is Melania right to sue, or could this set a dangerous precedent for free speech in the media? Let us know your thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more updates as we continue to follow this unfolding saga. As always, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time with the latest developments in this high-stakes legal battle. Take care, everyone.